You watch YouTube, you like air guns. And in every video nowadays, you see people shooting at 70, 80, 90, 100 yards or more, including me, plinking at tins at 100 yards with a sub 12 foot-pound license-free air gun. And one of the biggest questions I get asked is, how do you do that? Well, give me a couple of minutes and I'm going to show you. We got to the legal bit. I got to let you know who's pulling my chain in this video, and that is AirgunGearShow.com. I don't actually really need to have my chain pulled, but anyway, AirgunGearShow.com, it's the best place in the world for all the latest airgun videos, all the latest hunting reviews, and all the links to stuff that you could ever possibly want. So go and have a look at AirgunGearShow.com. My little business is AirgunGearShop.co.uk. There's all sorts of little bits and pieces on there that you can get your hands on. That's it. Carry on with the video. Now, you can see an impact on the bench. Let me tell you that the gun is not the secret. You can do this with a Gamo PCP. You can do this with a Daystate PCP. So you can really do this with any quality PCP as long as you can get a group out of it at sort of 25, 30 yards. It's not the gun that makes this work. Now, what makes shooting at long ranges possible is this thing right here, and it's called a no limit mount. This whole video comes with a big caveat for the sub 12 foot-pound community, license free, that's in the UK. America and the rest of the world, it doesn't matter, you can do this. But in the UK, sub 12 foot-pound, do not do pest control at 100 yards with a sub 12 foot-pound air rifle. It is not going to work. It's not fair on you, it's not fair on the critter. So just don't do it. Tins and targets, yes. Little critters, no. So what is the science in layman's terms? Because I'm not the brightest spark in the book when it comes to maths and scopes. What's the science of what's going on? Let me try and explain to you what's going on. And there's me to scale with my huge belly. Now, most people think that when you shoot a rifle or a pellet gun, that it goes in a straight line to the target. And if you play a lot of Call of Duty, that's what you think happens. But that is completely incorrect. That is utterly untrue. And this is an exaggerated line for the purposes of the demonstration. But what happens is the pellet or bullet flies in an arc. And even though you don't realise it, when you're zeroing the gun, you're actually ever so slightly by a few mil raising or lowering the front of that rifle to enable the pellet or bullet to go further. So it's a kind of lobbing action, if you see what I mean. Now, the thing is, when you look through the scope, you're looking through the scope if you have standard flat rings, you're looking in a straight line. So you might be zeroed there, and you might be zeroed there. And what you actually want to do is have the ability to tip that scope at the back, which means that if you're shooting further, so you're lobbing your shot further, like that, and you want to see your point of impact down there, for example, you need to be able to still raise that rifle a little at the front, but tip the scope at the rear, so that your actual line of sight is going to be like that in a straight line. So you might be zeroed there, for example. So you need to have the ability to tip that scope at the back to increase your ability to lob your shot, if that kind of makes sense. And the way to do that is by using a mount at the back, which has got the ability to raise and lower. And it only needs to be a few mil, because that mil gets exaggerated right down range. And that is the secret to how you shoot long distance. It's with an adjustable mount. Again, another caveat before anyone screams at me, because I know they do. I'm talking about air guns and lower speed bullets here. If you're shooting at something which is 3,500, 4,000 feet per second, you probably don't need a no limit mount because it's going so quick, it's just getting there. I am really talking about high powered air guns and maybe rim fire in this circumstance. So shall we just get on and do it, and let me show you how simple and quick it is to get hitting those targets. Now the thing is, let's be quite clear, this is a standard sub 12 foot-pound UK spec, license-free, FX impact, Mark 1 22 air rifle, and that's a hell of a mouthful. In fact, it's the original smooth twist barrel, so we don't even have an X-liner or a superior or anything like that. Let's just get on and do it. Number one, put your mounts on your gun. And I know roughly where mine go for my eye relief, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because I've done it many times before. There we go, and we're just going to do those up. So these bits at the back, they're still loose because we'll set those down in a moment. And then all I'm going to do is pop on my Element Helix scope, just like that. Top ring goes on at the back, and we'll do those up in a moment. And the front ring, top part, goes on the front, like that. So I'm going to tighten these a little bit. Now don't go mad, because what we're going to do is just get our eye relief set on our scope in a minute. But these are pinched just so the thing isn't going to fall off when I move it in a moment. I'm going to do this bit quickly because we don't want to get into how to level your scope and everything like that. But the gun's level. Scope's level. Take the cap off, Giles. And I think the eye relief is good. But this is all for purposes of an experiment. You might spend hours doing this yourself, that's fine. I got a life to live, so have you. So we're just going to do it and move on. Then you can go ahead and tighten these down. Do keep checking your level as you go along. And when you feel comfortable, you can always pinch up those ones there, but you don't need to pinch them too tight because we'll use those a bit later on. And once you pinch them up, you don't have to go mad, we're kind of there. Now, this isn't a how to set up your scope video and how to level your gun video and all that. This is a how to shoot at 100 yards. I ain't going to combine the two because, to be honest with you, I want to have my lunch in a minute. But there we go, we're done up and we're ready to go out into the field. Right, okay, so
564.
Gun is running at around
564.
Around 564 feet per second.
557. 568.
So to start with then, 25 yards, and I'm shooting at the top bullseye. Now, all I want to do is get that going in a straight line so I know where it's going. I'm not too worried about the height at the moment, and as you can see, we're going a little bit low. I haven't touched the holdover turret at the top for elevation. I haven't touched the mounts. All I'm doing is dialing to get it in a straight line, if you catch my drift. And the quick and easy way to do that is to hold the gun on 0 where it was and then dial the turret. And then when I shoot again, I get it directly in a line below where my crosshairs is. Hopefully that kind of makes some sense without ballistic charts and data. That's what I'm doing. I'm now going to move my 25-yard target back to 50. Now listen guys, I got to say this to be absolutely clear. You know, you're messing with trajectories here, you're firing things, so always do it in a safe environment. You don't want to be lobbing this pellet in different places or anything like that. Safe environment, think about what you're doing and always check your backstop. Now, I've got my target out at 50 yards. Normally, I would just start dialing with my top turret to dial in to 50 yards. That's what it's there for. But because I'm at 50 yards, my shot is going to drop off that paper and into the ground before it gets there. I don't want to start dialing with my turret yet because I actually want to go out to 100 yards. I need some leeway when I get out there to be able to dial. So I'm actually going to make my first adjustment to my no limit mount. And it's quite simple. All I'm going to do, using a very, very, very small Allen key, just to create a measurement marker, is I'm going to undo the 2 screws here. And because I've got the scope cam mount on the back, it's going to naturally rock back, look. That's what it's going to do. But that's only because I've got the scope cam mount on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that in there, look, just to create a gap, a measured gap, so I know what I've got. And I'm going to go ahead and pinch that one back up, right? And then just grip that a little bit. And then at the right point in time, remove the Allen key and pinch it up a bit more. There we go. That's it. There we are. And now we're going to see where we're at 50, and we haven't altered the top turret yet. Now the safety bit has to kick in. We've made an adjustment to that mount at the back, and that is going to alter the trajectory of that pellet. So I'm now using the markings on the reticule, still working on that top bullseye. And what's going to happen is, because we've tipped that mount up a little bit at the back, the shot is actually going to go higher at 50 yards because we've given it a bit more elevation at the back. So using the reticule, I am now aiming using the top part of the reticule to see where the shot is going. Looking at the footage, it kind of makes sense, but the main thing is safety. You're altering trajectories. So safety, safety, safety. You don't want that shot going somewhere that you don't know. A little bit at a time. Now, I've gone out to 100 yards and put a target up. And again, safety, safety, safety. I would actually do this only at a range. Never do this in your back garden. It's not a good thing to do in your back garden because of the variation. You don't actually have, you know, with that slight movement at the back there isn't like a written number that says, you know, how much you raise or lower that depends on how far the pellet's going to go over or under. There just isn't. It is a trial and experiment situation. So again, I keep saying it, safety, safety. We're now out to 100. And what you're going to find is that where you were at 50, you were having to shoot, you know, with the top part of the reticule. You've now got to move the reticule up. Okay, you've got to give it some holdover because you are now trying to go even further. I have made a small change. I've zoomed in on the scope. I've gone from 10 power to 16, and that's really just to help the scope cam capture what I'm seeing. But other than that, we're still where we were at 50. And like I say, I am going to hold above the target a little bit because I've got to see where it's going. There it is. And what I'm going to do, because I can see it, is now use my top turret to bring that in, like that. Oh, that was the wind. High. There it is. Huh. We're getting there. Let's hold for wind. Oh, holding for wind. Huh. I'm going high. Nearly in the ball. Determined to get the ball. Oh. Same hole. No, we're going everywhere except the bullseye. Come on. Oh. No, it's the wind. The wind is going to get me. Yeah! So you are chasing the wind at 100 yards with a sub 12. As you can see, it's going everywhere. Hopefully the camera got that. But that's it. I've hit the bullseye at 100 yards with a sub 12 rifle. Ta-da!
He did it. He actually did it.
Oh! We're going just low. Wind. Gotta do it for wind. See where it's going for wind. High. There it is. So as you can see, we are playing with the wind now. I'm going to give it a little bit of dial. I don't like holding. Oh. Yeah. Just to the left. Yeah. This tint has been my nemesis. Yeah, got you in the end. Now I can simply take my turret off the top and put that back to, oh, bit of sticky tape, put that back to 0 on there. There we go, like that. And then put that back on. And then I know that that is zeroed at 100 yards. I could take the cap off the windage side and put that back to 0. It's only a few clicks out anyway, but there's very little point because it is a windy day and it'll be a completely different wind tomorrow. And all the way through I've kept the chronograph on the front as well. So when I take that off, I am going to have to make a couple of little clicks adjustment on the top just to allow for that point of aim change. It's only on there as proof of concept that this is a sub 12 foot-pound rifle. There are apps out there that will do all these calculations for you and everything like that. And yes, they will work incredibly well, probably if you don't have a sub 12 foot-pound rifle. But nothing can account for sticking an Allen key in the back of your mount to give you a measurement for where you want to be at 100 yards. I just do it that way because it works, and it works for me every time. Will you look at that, 100 yards, and that sub 12 22 pellet still goes straight through a macaroni cheese can. And you all know what me and Ben had for lunch now, don't you? Well, there you are, that's it. If you've enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. You could even press the subscribe button down there and ring the bell. And YouTube, when it deems itself to be worthy, will actually send you a notification next time we put a video out. And there are those of you out there that will say, I don't like what you've just done, you've got it all completely and utterly wrong and I'm going to have a head fit over it. Well, yeah, absolutely, go on, have your head fit over it. I've shown you what I do, I've shown you the system that I work. I don't really do it using ballistic charts and tables. It's just practical knowledge and practice. And the whole point of the video really is to show you that a sub 12 air rifle can shoot at tins at 100 yards if you use the right equipment. And no, you shouldn't use it for pest control at 100 yards. Should you now? Absolutely not. That's it. Video's finished. Off you go. Bye-bye.